everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Carbonite Bounty BS, the Nerd Cyclopedia Star Wars show. They haven't canceled yet, although they've been tempted to. How's everybody doing tonight?
All right.
Awesome. Great to be here and alive.
That's right. Although not by a lot. It's a slim margin right now.
There's very little bit of oxygen that makes me alive or dead. So I'm thankful for it.
All right, so that's your existentialist moment on Carbonite Bounty BS this week. Starting all off that way. Yeah, there are now people in this trend. As for those of you who just listened, Trent will not be joining us this week. Scheduling things, so you will be led this week by me, SC Hitch, one of the original people here at Nerd Cyclopedia. On my left, you'll see him, DP Brown, my partner in crime, the other original OG Nerd Cyclopedia founder. And below us, you'll see Admiral Tar-Ken, our resident OG Star Wars fan, the longest tenured of us all. Gentlemen, welcome to Carbonite Bounty BS for Rebels Part 2, Season 1, Part 2. How's everyone feeling about Rebels?
Awesome.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah. Good stuff. Great writing.
Breadcrumbs everywhere.
I thought I wasn't going to, I thought it was just going to be a weaker version of Clone Wars, but oh man, I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
You know why, Sam? Because it's getting to the root and the guts of what we are actually all loving and enjoying about Star Wars. It's actually Star Wars. It's getting to the characters. It's getting to the camaraderie and the missions and evil against good. And we got Jedis and lightsabers and the Inquisitor, right?
Love the Inquisitor.
And the Empire. Yep. And Tar-Ken, who's the coolest cat on the block. Thank you.
Let's not forget, and this is the official thing we have to do now. We have been rocking with Admiral Tar-Ken for some time, that having been the highest rank achieved by Tar-Ken yet in the media that we've been reviewing. However, as you'll note, this week on Rebels, Tar-Ken is referred to as Governor Tar-Ken.
Yes.
And so we must promote you, Governor Tar-Ken. That is how it must be.
Governor.
So there you go.
All
Governor.
Right. Governor Moff Tar-Ken. Because he's
not a Moff yet. Not a Moff yet. I haven't heard that yet.
I'll take Governor. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
On this show, we let the canon tell us when a rank is achieved. We don't assume it. So congratulations on your promotion. How does it feel to be a governor and not just an admiral anymore?
It's about time, because we have places to go now. We found another Jedi that we have to squash, and we think now that this Jedi is going to lead us to all the other rebel scum, and we can end this rebellion before it even starts. And where are we going to go to end the rebellion? We're going to take this Jedi to Mustafar. So how much fun is that going to be?
That's going to be a lot of fun. I got to say, I appreciated how this part of this season really sort of used the setup of the first season to draw these characters into the Star Wars, the larger Star Wars world. If the first half of the season was very insular, the second half of this season had guest star after guest star after guest star after guest star. Lando Calrissian, of all people, was in
that.
This
was awesome.
I love Lando.
And they got Billy D back. Oh my goodness.
Of course, you'd have to have Billy D back, right? I mean, he'd have to do the voice. No one else could. And how sly and cool. What a cool cat he is. I mean, suave with the ladies, good with the droids. I mean,
well, we already knew he was good with the droids.
Well, I know, but
slick with the droids.
Very, very much so.
He's got a smooth touch with a data spike. You know what he means.
I'm hoping that we get more of Lando, in future episodes, because that was a pleasure. That was a treat. I love the fact that they take the initiative to not just be lazy and hire some, just some likeness voice actor and everything. We're getting the real actor from like the movies and stuff and putting them on the show. And I'm happy that the actor is game enough to do that. So it just makes the fans, fans of this type, stuff it just puts the quality back into the show and just makes you love it that much more. So I was totally digging the Lando episode, the way he as Tar-Ken, Ken was talking about how smooth he was throughout the episode, his sense of humor and everything. And I was just laughing throughout that episode. It was a great episode.
Yeah, even the Kanan, great character. Very sort of a combination of all the great Jedi, like a little bit of Obi-Wan, the sort of the wiseness of Qui-Gon, but still brash. So he had sort of a great soldier element. So he had some of the clone war element, like the more fighter kind of Jedi, but also the intellectual part, and a great character. And it just every episode was great. Sabine, Chopper, it really brought everything back. It really felt like I was watching sort of animated Star Wars, like A New Hope, and watching it, but with different characters. This has probably been the best watch for me. Clone Wars I loved Bad Batch, loved all that. That took me a little more to think into. This was an easier for me to digest because I got it. I got it real quick. It just made sense for me right out of the gate. So I'm having a great time with it.
One thing that's interesting is we talked a little bit about how we watched the Clone Wars and then Bad Batch season 1 and then Rebels sequentially. So we've already seen something that was produced after this that has this scene with Kanan and his master that is talked about with the Inquisitor.
Yes.
Wow. And for us getting to it in this order, and it's important to say it like that. It's now we're calling back to this extremely emotional, action-packed, excellent moment from the very first episode of Bad Batch.
Right.
What a great just that run, right? That line. And now thinking about how, if you had watched this in release sequence, that sequence in Bad Batch, when she says run and he runs away, you would know, right? You know that's what it is.
Right.
So cool.
Yeah. The context and everything, is all fully there for us because we're new to, watching this as far as the sequential order, like you said. So when he has that, when Inquisitor has that talk with them, just badgering him about, his past and, how his master, fell and died and everything. I went back and watched the episode because of what we talked about the week before.
You said you got to go back and watch that. Right? Yeah.
I just watched this. That was so good. Oh man, yes, love the callback and the way they played it out, and it just goes to show you how much fortitude the Filoni and his crew had, and even bringing that into the Bad Batch, because they knew it was referenced in Rebels already, so we got to have it play out in that show, and of course we see a couple characters like Hera and everything in the Bad Batch first season, that's being referenced now and everything. But just simple conversations such as that, it just brings so much, just expands the world so much in this show, and it's just really great for me.
Well, it's that fabric, right? I use that metaphor all the time, how it's like a needle and thread, and how they use the the supporting characters from one show or the main characters of the other, and you can kind of see how they feed off each other. And nothing says, I don't think there's any credit to this world they're building that's gonna match my reaction to Ahsoka showing up in this finale. Not that because I didn't know who she was basically before that Mandalorian season 2.
Right.
And she pops on screen here and I'm like, yes! I knew it.
That was my reaction too. I'm like, man, yes. Now, with that, okay, you see, I thought she would have had more of a grander interest and everything, but the reaction of just seeing her was enough for me, and just the cliffhanger, like Oh, we got Darth Vader coming up next. Oh man, we gotta do this podcast.
Yeah, it's like when you find out who Muhammad Ali is gonna fight next. You know what I mean? It's Joe Frazier. It's like yes, and everyone's kind of, you know what I mean? Everyone's gonna buy that fight. I can't wait. You know, and here's the thing: you don't set it up like this if it's not gonna happen. You don't have them get introduced 1, 2, like beat right at the end of the season if you're not setting up something extraordinary. So I'm just super excited. This is something I think I called out for. I cried for this back during the Clone Wars. I cried for this, and I'm excited to see it.
They definitely can't like reveal all that and then just drop it and go in a different direction. So we all know pretty much how season 2 is going to start, right?
Yeah, the great thing about like this whole setup is that number one, they had to get us introduced to these new characters because we're used to the world, we're used to the story beats that the Filoniverse based on like the Clone Wars and how they do like their beats and stuff. So these are brand new characters. We're getting set in the universe and everything. We don't know anything about. We know nothing about these characters. Nothing. So we have to get, we had to get used to them, and now we're loving it. I'm not annoyed with Ezra anymore. I'm loving Kanan, like you guys are talking about. He has that wisdom, he has that brashness and everything. But yeah, he's still mentoring Ezra and everything. Teaching him the ways of the Jedi and stuff. When they went to like the temple. That was a great episode right there. And having Yoda, just talk to him and stuff. That was lovely. Just having them build out the character to when to the point to where we get to the final episode and knows was, and since we already know like the future characters like Darth Vader and Tar-Ken and everything, seeing them cross over and meld. So we get to see our new favorite characters with our old favorite characters and see how they all mesh together. How is that going to work out?
Yeah, and how the rebels became rebels, and what the Empire basically forced the people into rebellion. I mean, right? The more you squeeze people, the more you lose them, right? The more, unless you kill them. You of course kill them.
But here's the problem. This is what most emperors figure out pretty quick. If you kill them, you can't squeeze them. You have to pick.
Right. You don't get anything you don't get revenue. You don't get work. You don't get like things that you need for your empire to run. So you squeeze them just enough so they don't slip through your fingers. Right.
Right.
So we see how that all happened and where it started, and they meet the future rebellion leaders, in the last couple episodes. So it's going to be neat to see where does Ezra fall into place? Like, where does Bridger become the hero of the rebellion? Like, does he become the John Connor of the Resistance? Like, how does he? What does he become? Because he's got to evolve because he's already super powerful. I mean, even his lightsaber he designed. Kanan was like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Like, like it could be a blaster, couldn't it?
Yeah, and Kanan used it, and then at the end of the final episode, Ezra was like, "Oh, I never thought to use it like that."
Right. So he's innovative, and he's thinking about ways to because you have to be more smarter and more powerful than your enemy somehow, right? So you've got to figure it out. You got to figure out how to do it. So that's great. That's what I want my lightsaber to be. I want it to be a lightsaber, but I also want it to be a blaster.
Yeah. Great combination.
Who doesn't want a sword gun, right? Isn't that what a bayonet is?
Sword gun.
Laser sword gun.
A lasered sword gun.
It's just a torch.
It's a torch. It's a torch that shoots projectiles.
It's a laser sword that shoots other lasers. It's just a laser generator.
I'll
one of the laser pens.
Yeah, that's what Mando would say. How about the one episode where they were trying to get the message out? Well, they were I forgot who was the messenger that that they were sending propaganda.
Oh, the senator.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's the double cross, right? So the senator, so this guy, the Empire's paying him to be like a bait. So he says, "Oh, hey, if you're a rebellion person, come to these coordinates."
Right.
And when they go to the coordinates,
we have a reward for you. Yep.
Right. It's like on The Simpsons when they said anybody, oh, you want a free boat, come on in, and Homer goes in to get his free boat, and they waylay him.
It never comes out.
Yeah, nobody ever comes out of the free boat. There's no free boat, right? That's the point of all that stuff.
No, is that what I'm talking about? I'm talking about. I think I'm talking about. They're interrupting. Is it Palpatine's propaganda and stuff? They have the parades and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Empire Day.
Oh, Empire.
Yeah, Empire Day. That was a great episode and stuff. And I think it was that episode where number one, it was great that we found out that was Ezra's birthday, and that's the reason why he was acting the way that he was. But I think the same episode, their transmission, they interrupted one of the TVs, and excuse me, they had figured out, okay, well, we need to find out a way to get our message out there and stuff, to the people, to let them know exactly what's going on the ground, because they have no idea, that they're being hoodwinked and stuff, So I thought that was a great overall way of displaying how, an empire could take over people and make them feel a certain type of way. But, you got these rebels that are slowly, I saw this on like The Man in the High Castle too. They're trying to get messages out to the people, letting them know that they can rebel and, encourage them to have courage, because things are not happening right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting comment on the way foundation myths happen, on the way, like, just to use an example, the foundation of the United States, right? So when did the United States get everything east of the Mississippi? The traditional story is in the treaty with Britain, right? Well, then how come there's so many cities named like Fort Wayne between? Like, why do they need a fort if they already owned it? You know what I'm saying? So there's this interesting idea where, how does Palpatine tell the story of how he got power? Like, what is the state's version of the story we watched, right? And it's that Palpatine himself ended the Clone Wars, right?
Right.
Which isn't even necessarily bullshit. It's pretty true. He did.
And he made the Jedi Knights the scapegoat. He said they were the terror. They were the ones that were causing the whole thing and stopping all the alliances between the Trade Federation and the Republic. It was the Jedi that were causing it. So you pick a good scapegoat, and one that people already kind of maybe didn't like or trust.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. That's how
you plant the seed of doubt, and then just pepper it and sprinkle it with a bunch of different other stuff, and see how the people go. And the people want to go with if whoever sounds the best, whoever can sell the story the best, is the one that wins. The Jedi was not selling their story at all.
Nothing. They weren't coming to their own defense.
Well, they were coming into defense of the Republic, which was a corrupt entity that certainly was, there was a lot of, plutocracy and a lot of corruption and a lot of
backstabbing.
Of backstabbing, but the average person in the Republic wasn't exactly doing great. I mean, there was factually slavery in the Outer Rim. I mean, it's factual. We ran into it in episode 1. And so, the fact is that the Empire is promising these people a better deal and is delivering at first. They are offering them a better deal, and we see that in Bad Batch. So what's interesting, and this is why it's so interesting that they tie the opening part of Bad Batch season 1 to the ending of Rebels season 1, right? They kind of fit together in a kind of a like a symmetrical arc, and we can see the Emperor's foundation, and then like how we say we founded the Empire. One thing I also find interesting is it is interesting how they've explained, like, who the stormtroopers are and how we're sort of seeing the you want to call it the consequences, right? of going with a less competent, less, deadly security force as they keep getting beat over and over and over.
But you have more of them.
No, yeah.
And you pretty much have an unlimited supply of them, and it doesn't really cost anything because all you have to do is go in and kidnap a whole bunch of people.
It's like that line from Braveheart, right?
Crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Arrows cost money. Send in the Irish.
Yeah. Right. All right, Braveheart.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about Braveheart, but in space. We haven't got to the freedom part yet, but we're almost there.
And it happened a long, long time ago.
Right, far, far away. So there's a lot of, so think about that. So there's a lot of similarities between the British monarchy and the way they decided to rule their republic and the way the empire is deciding to rule their republic with a fist.
Yeah.
Well, they call this, the idea that the stories, the histories we tell about ourselves evolve over time, and what that is called is a historiography. It's like the study of that changing, right, and what it says about us. So if you look at, again, to use America because it's where I'm sitting, and it's easy because I know the most about it for that reason. But to use America, the founding fathers generation said one thing about the revolution. It had one purpose. We think it was something different than them. We believe about, the equality of all people. And that's not something that was on all the founders' minds for certain, right?
No, it wasn't.
Right.
So the things we talk about and the acts of the revolution that we emphasize are very different. And the way we talk about the founders is very different from how someone would have in, say, 1845, just to pick a year.
That's great point.
So we see that evolution that's starting here, and it's basically the emperor wanted the propaganda to work a certain way, but now is saying with control in the future, this is what had happened. And he who controls the past now controls the future, and he who controls the future controls the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that sort of like the same way of like, the person, what did they call, like the king who wrote, like the King James version of the Bible? Why is there a version of the Bible from King James, when it's supposed to be just one Bible? So the person who controls, I guess the man who, what is it? What does the saying go? He who wins the war writes the history books.
The victors write the histories.
Yeah, the victors write. Yeah. So it's just romanticizing that part of history. So what you said is great because the founding fathers intended it a certain way, but we want to romanticize it another way. In another way. Yeah.
The founding fathers were thinking very immediate. They were done with the British. We wanted to live our own way. It wasn't so much we wanted equality for all and everybody have their own. We wanted to just break away. And what's the easiest way to do it is what was the most emotionally charged idea of the time? We wanted our own land. We wanted our own supplies and food. We wanted to make product and sell it and keep the money. Right? We didn't want to have to give 80% of it to somebody else.
Right.
So that was the goal, I think, right? I mean, that makes the most sense, but that's not a very easy sell if you've got you got a bunch of farmers and okay, they can probably jump on that bandwagon, but you got to make it like emotional. So
think of let's say we took your mercantile idea, right? And we said that let's say we distilled the reasons there was a revolution down to, wanting self-determination and to settle the Ohio country.
Cool. Okay.
Can that still be what the revolution is about if we want the revolution to matter right now? Can we be about conquering and settling Ohio anymore? I mean, sure, during football season, yeah. But but only only at 4 Sundays a year.
I was like, wait, what do you mean Ohio?
So
you mean like Cleveland?
But the thing is that the goals of the state evolve over time. The thing that the state is trying to do evolves over time. So we're not trying to, conquer a continent. We're not trying to consolidate rule over, over land that is currently possessed by indigenous people. We're not doing that right now. That is finished. So do we really need that to be? Do we want people to know that's what we were doing? Do we want that to be the point of emphasis, or do we want it to be on the fig leaf we put on it in Philadelphia in 1776? Right. Which do you want to be talking about? And if it's 60 years later and we're talking about your parents, what do you want to be said about them versus what are we thinking about? Like, what does our perspective say? Right. So, Animal Farm's a book that kind of deals with this also in parallel. It talks about the Russian Revolution. Think about the difference in how Stalin was talked about when he came to power in 1926 and what they were saying about him after World War II. That's about the same amount of time, about 20 years.
You're right.
Yep.
So the foundation myth changes, and when you are the founder and you're the victor, right, and you're writing the history, you get to make it say whatever you want.
Right.
And the emperor won. I mean, that's what episode 3 is about, right? The emperor won. That is it.
End of story.
Mm-hmm. Well, end of part of it. There is other story. Such as Rebels season 1. Disney
yeah. Great season. Like I said, I love the Temple episode. Love the Ezra, the Empire Day. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Empire Day. That was a scary type. That was a crazy, propaganda filled episode. They were looking for one of Ezra's, was it Ezra's friends?
The guy with the Lobot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they were looking for him because the Empire was looking for him.
Well, he had documents. He had passport.
He had the MacGuffin in here.
He was what was he? Well, he was a Rhodian, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a Greedo.
He was a Greedo.
I don't know. Can I say that now? Is that
no? You're being
2021.
You're being racist. He's a reptilian humanoid.
I always thought. Hold on. Okay, so maybe this is an impromptu time to have this discussion because I've always wanted to have this with people that would care, and that's such a small percentage at the time.
It's a small percentage of people right now. Nobody cares. All
right. So I got a talking point. So let me ask you guys this because. What do you think a Rhodian is supposed to be, DP? Like, the Greedos. I could see terrible racism again. What are they supposed to be? Do you think?
As far as like their their personalities or
no, like what are they? Like, what are they based on? Like, what are they? What type? Because he's Ken's saying like a lizard.
Like a Hubert?
Okay. Hubert. Yeah, they're an early 80s video game.
Yeah.
No, you know what they are?
That's what immediately brought that to mind.
They're scapegoats. Because what other character has become so popular? Like, okay, the scene with Han and Greedo in the bar, right? Han shot first. Okay, and all of a sudden it's Greedo shot first. Caused this whole controversy.
And here's the thing I don't get, right? Because you specifically designed these guys to look like flies, is what I'm getting at. They look like flies.
Oh, flies.
Yeah. You got a fly mouth, you got fly eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then Han swats the fly, which is just great. Why would you ever want to change that? But did you guys not get that they were flies? I always thought that was like a thing, right? Are we not supposed to make that connection? Did you think they were lizards or something?
No, I thought they were like kind of a snail type of thing with the they have these things on top and snails sort of have that. I never really got the fly. But yeah, now that you talk about a fly, they're sort of fly-ish. So, I get that, but I would put them more toward the reptile type of thing.
It's like if a reptile and a fly got put into that pod from the thing.
Right. And then it cooked, and then whatever. Yeah, Greedo would come out. Right. And Grogu would not eat the eggs.
He would not shoot anything.
Right. Not shoot anything first.
Oh, poor Greedo.
Or Greedo.
Oh my goodness. All right. The Empire Day is scary though, because it does show how fast that sort of like that sort of groupthink can take effect, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's only 14 years, and I mean that's a long amount of time. like seriously, 15 years is a long amount of time, but that's only 2006. So September 2006 doesn't feel that super duper duper long ago. For some of us who were living the high life that summer. Some of us. So this is a big this season, this end of the season, it has, as we said, Yoda, Lando, it has Ahsoka Tano in it, it has Tarkin, it has
Vader.
Bail Organa.
Yeah, Bail
Oh,
Organa.
yeah, we didn't talk about Bell. Yeah, Bail Organa, coming back and everything,
It has the first confirmed, hey, there's a big Rebel Alliance in it. So this is a big season.
Right. Well, he's the one. Yeah, he's the one that really I forgot to mention him, but he's the beginning of the rebellion. He's the one that's really going to drive start that whole thing. And his entrance was great. I mean, and you knew who he was, right? And was that Jimmy Smits? Was that?
I don't think so.
The voice was very. Still, I forgot to look at the end. I don't know. I nerded out. I was like,
Space Jimmy Smits.
But
Yeah.
I think it is.
I don't think that was his voice. I mean, we've seen Jimmy Smits on a lot of stuff. We can, for the most part, tell his voice.
I mean, he's definitely alive still. So.
Oh yeah,
He's definitely alive.
And he's probably
What are you
definitely
doing?
come back
Jimmy
to the.
Smits. Yeah.
He was one. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was him, because he really wanted to be part of this whole thing. Like, he really wanted the gig. Like, I think he hounded Lucas for months.
Wasn't he was barely in episode 1, or was he in episode 1, just in the last shot, and they're like, that's Bail Organa, shut up.
Yeah, maybe just at the end, and then he was in he was in Attack of the Clones, and obviously in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I watched those clones shoot that kid, and then he ran away, and then he picked up Yoda.
Right,
it was Yoda's ride home.
Right,
Just like a little kid hopping in your car. He's so little.
Come on, little guy, come on.
Bad time at the skating rink I had. I will jump far now, I will. Threw a podium at me, the big kids did. It was hard and round and moving fast, but I threw it back. No one wanted to couple skate with me.
Yeah, how about Yoda teaching Ezra and everything, like his ways and stuff. So that was a great little, we got a favorite character crossing over with the a new character and everything, and him asking questions. Well, who are you? I mean, those it's like those little moments that I'm liking. And I'm liking the bond between Kanan and Ezra. Them just coming together and everything. Ezra seems to have like a little crush on Sabine as well. So we're getting some development as far as that. Is something going on with Hera and Kanan? I mean,
I'm picking up on that for sure.
Picking something up there as well. I mean, it's a fun little crew. I like the crew. I'm liking. This show is different from Clones, obviously. Where that was more or less concentrated on more the politics and stuff. And you were seeing Anakin and his adventures with Obi-Wan, but we're more or less seeing just like the rebels, just like the smaller segments of what's going on in like the galaxy at this point.
Yeah, it's a little junkier, right? It's like dirty.
Yeah,
it's trash. The ship is junk. Their ship is trash. It's breaking down. All their technology is sort of like half-assed. They got the cast-offs. The Empire is very streamlined and nice, and they get all the weapons. And they got all the cool stuff. Whereas like the rebels obviously have to rely on their brains because their technology is junk. I mean, they've got just the cast-offs. They're hodgepodge putting things together. That's why all their ships were like pieces of Imperial technology that they had to sort of combine and they didn't create anything. They found trash and made it work.
Right.
And the Empire was very, very strong and militarized, and they designed new fighters and technology. The rebels had to steal stuff and combine it with their junk to make their stuff work.
Right.
So it's very. We're starting to see some of that. What's the name? I don't even remember what their ship, the thing our guys are flying around in. It's weird. It's got sort of 3 engines on the top and the body. The cockpit.
Ghost.
And the Ghost, is that it?
Ghost. Yeah.
Ghost, because it's like we don't know if it's going to work or not. It's a ghost. Out in the wind. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like the Falcon.
Yeah, it has this team has a lot in common with the core team from episode 4. We have Zeb and Chewie are kind of the big strong alien with the backstory that could go stretch back eons, because they could be as old as heck. We have Kanan almost like Obi-Wan. You have Ezra a little bit like Luke. You have your grizzled pilot that's seen the world and kind of knows what's what. You have your funny droid. You have the princess who's got aspirations of grandeur, right? You have all of that together, and that's what makes this group work, in my opinion. It's what makes them feel so obvious as a connective tissue between the prequel series and the original trilogy. Because you can't, our heroes aren't running around in sleek anything anymore. I mean, compare Amidala's sleek Nubian freighter, that's what it's called, right? The Nubian class, whatever. Compare that thing to the Ghost, and you see a real change in where morality's been really edged out of the economy, right? People the heroes aren't in charge of anything, right? Nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you're talking about like a different class of people. We're seeing like the people on the ground. Who we briefly seen in like the final season of the Clone Wars, where we're seeing like more of those type of people, and their reaction to the Empire's takeover of like the galaxy and everything. So we're getting a lot of their perspective, and at least this first season, we're not going to see any type of Anakin and obviously not him. But we're not going to see like Padme and a lot of the higher ups that actually are in charge or have like power and stuff. We get to see Tar-Ken come and wreck shop. When he finds out like the rebels are doing this, that, and the other, and he has an Inquisitor back up and say, "Okay, this is how you need to handle."
And let's talk about what he does when he shows up. Right, Laurel and Hardy are screwed. As soon as Tar-Ken shows up, he's like, what? You guys are shitheads. You're idiots.
Gone. Executed.
Done.
Finished.
Done.
Loved it.
Done.
He's like, this is then he looks at the other guy and he's like, that doesn't seem to be your fault. And they move on.
Swift justice. And that carries. Like heard it through the grapevine. I mean, people start to know that if you don't complete your mission, you're gonzo, because there's someone else that's going to come in and do your job immediately.
Where does Palpatine find these people? Tar-Ken, the Inquisitor. I mean, we'll see Thrawn at some point, and everything, but where does he find these people?
The same way anybody finds these people. You go into a room and you look around. And you find the brownest nose, and that's the one you pick.
Okay, all right.
You've got to look for skill too.
It can be a room of smart people, but you pick the brownest nose.
Well, sometimes if you can back it up, you're not really a brown noser, then, are you? If you can back it up, and that's what I'm excited to see, like, how does Tarkin become the one singular human that can talk back to Vader and walk away?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's still there.
Right.
I mean, he's the only human, as far as I know, that has amber on his insignia. I mean, he's the highest rank Imperial officer, human Imperial officer, absolutely no Force attuneness at all.
Right. Yeah.
He's just skilled. He knows what to say, when to say it, how to say it. I mean, his upbringing was perfect for this role, and Vader knows it. So Vader's like, I mean, if it wasn't for the disaster at the Death Star in the Battle of Yavin, Tarkin would still be pulling the strings of the Empire. I mean, I think at some point, the Emperor would just sort of give it to him and say, "Okay, you continue my mission," and then he can go off and create new Sith. You know, I think that Tarkin would be the ultimate leader.
I always got the feeling that Vader kind of knew he needed a scapegoat on Death Star 1, and that's why he sort of let Tarkin be in charge of it. Like, he always had a weird feeling about the Death Star. Like, I don't think this is going to work out for some reason. You know what I mean? And that's why he's like, I'll get in my fighter now.
Well, he was the one that was always like, don't be so,
He's insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Right. And then your sorcerer, he's always like, your religion is gone. The fires have gone out of the galaxy, which is basically true. Mm. It's basically a fact. There is no more Jedi. There is no more Force. It's all been burned out. We're just machines now, So he was right, but maybe you're right, Hitch. I don't know. Maybe Vader but he was bested by his son.
That's true.
So it runs in the family. There's a lot of back and forth.
Question. Okay. What the Jedi Temple? What and the training, okay, so that happened. So that fell after the at the end of the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the presumption is Kylo Ren was there and Grogu.
Different temple. That's Luke's later. That's at the end of the regular trilogy.
Okay.
So that's like between.
Yeah, that's 30,
that's between
40.
Mandalorian and Episode 7.
Okay. All right. So I'm just a different Jedi temple. So it's more than just the. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been the same temple, but just in a different era.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also Luke's only like 15 years old. He's Ezra's age, like the same age, right? Or is Ezra maybe a little bit older, like 16, 17? Because Luke was born basically on Empire Day too, right?
Well, that's interesting too.
Around that day, anyway. I mean, it couldn't have been that long.
So how does the Jedi Temple survive anything with the Galactic Empire? Like,
maybe they made it a mall.
Like, is it a hidden temple? Like, where they couldn't? I'm a little confused now. So they swear they wiped out the Jedi and stuff. So does the Jedi train in secret?
Well, they would have to at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean they would have to have a temple. When I'm thinking about a temple, I'm thinking of something that somebody's going to end up finding out about. At some point, if the Empire thinks that they wiped out all this Jedi, all the Jedi and stuff. So is that pretty much how like the story goes? Like it was like a hidden temple or something?
Well, I don't know if it's hidden. You mean the temple that we saw in this series, where he went to get his Kyber crystal, or do you mean the actual Jedi temple on Coruscant?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
I don't know what he would have done with it, man. That's a good question because, like, what do you use it for? Like in Istanbul, there's the Hagia Sophia that's now used as a mosque, wherein it certainly wasn't built as a mosque because it was built in the 600s AD, right? It's very, very old. So what would you do with that? I mean, who knows what Palpatine did with that thing? It's sitting on a swirl of dark force energy. Maybe he built a house there. Maybe that's where he lives. Maybe he turned it into a mall just to humiliate the Jedi. I don't know, man. Maybe that's where the Foot Locker is. Maybe you can get an Auntie Anne's pretzel up in the Jedi Temple now.
Pretzel.
Come get your haircut at the temple.
that's where the books were, right?
Yeah.
That's where they housed them, and it was just a teepee. It was just a wooden teepee. That's all it was.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Single
very-
256 gig card just sitting there. Gonna get smart level security.
Right.
Oh man.
It was a very simple place that you would go to meditate. I mean, I don't know that the Jedi Temple on Coruscant was much of a temple, was it? I mean, it was a library.
We see Jedi temples all over the place though now, because we see the one in Mandalorian, we see the one in Rogue One, we see the one here,
One
we
in
see
Rebels, right?
You use the word temple so loosely, it makes me feel. So we talk about meta stuff because Trenton, who's not here, always talks about how the sequel trilogy never happened. Maybe the way they get around it is say there were whole lot of temples, man. Luke's got messed up, but there was plenty. There was like 10 of them. So everyone else, Grogu was at his other temple.
He was
They put them on every planet. Like any planet that a Jedi went to, they'd put a temple.
It's the weirdest thing. This one temple over here where all the characters we're using right now they're all fine. How did you know? Who would have guessed? They were all over here on Yavin 2.
Jedi INC, we got we have like a Starbucks inside of one,
Their fire has gone out of the universe. Except for these important ones. Their fire is just fine. Thank you very much.
Because there's a Starbucks there.
Because that's where we build our Starbucks. Come to the Emperor Starbucks. Oh, Emperor, my coffee's too cold. Oh, thanks, Emperor Palpatine. He's just like, this looks grotesque when he's got the coffee. Just
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to these next batch of episodes. Seeing if Palpatine comes back, and maybe I don't want to see Palpatine, but I definitely anxious to see what Darth Vader's up to now. That's a hanging question over my head ever since the end of season 7 of Clone Wars. What is he up to now?
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see Ahsoka.
He's going to disappoint at all.
Oh no,
this is gonna. I think it's gonna live up to the hype for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be in a rebellious leader of some sort. I mean, you're going to get your wish, man, DP. She's going to lead an army of really angry human soldiers into some sort of death trap.
Ooh.
That
Death Trap's always
Tar-Ken, Governor Tar-Ken, is going to, spring. And Vader's going to be right there. He's going to be cutting them all in half. I think they're going to be. I predict that season 2 is going to be dark.
Ooh, a dark season coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be very dark. We're going to see a lot of loss.
Yeah, not as much lightness, and we probably definitely not going to have like painted H jets.
No.
H's. No. Shoot down the H's. Too many H's.
But like how Empire Strikes Back was the dark episode. I think episode 2 with season 2 with Rebels is going to be the darker thing. We're going to see the rebellion try to come up and the Empire squash them down. We're going to see some losses. You always got to have that in this story. So that's my prediction for this series 2, season 2.
More lightsaber action, slicing and dicing. Maybe we'll get like Kanan and Darth Vader going at it.
I want to see it. Throw it down. All right. So we'll cut the first half up. The first half of season 2 for next week.
Yep.
And as always, we don't do it at the beginning. DP, why don't you tell everyone where they can find us?
Nerdcyclopedia.com. Make sure that you are following us on all our social media outlets on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Nerdcyclopedia. Leave us some feedback, nerds@nerdcyclopedia.com. Make sure that, you know, if you are watching us on YouTube or even on Facebook, hitting that subscribe button and also hitting that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. Join our Facebook group, Carbonite Bounty BS, the Star Wars group. You know, we're doing some good chatter, having some great fun with memes and stuff, and, you know, reviewing the stuff like how you are, because we just love Star Wars so much.
That's all we do. Talk about Star Wars and bore our wives. So we'll talk to you all later. Next week again, Rebels Season 2 Part 1. Hopefully we're intact so I don't have to ramble as much next week. And we'll see you soon. As we always end, gentlemen, this is the way.
This is the way.